So this is the other solution that I'm going to solve and determine whether it is a acid solution or acidic solution or a basic solution. So now we have hydrogen and nitrogen and oxygen 3 plus hydrogen sulfur becomes nitrogen and oxygen plus sulfur plus water molecule. So what we're going to do is we will proceed to the step 1 of the equation, which says or means that we'll determine the number of oxidation number here in this equation. So I have here solved answers. So we have now, so in finding in HNO3, we are going to have negative 2 in the nitrogen and 0 in the oxygen, and then for hydrogen we have x 1 because it's also understood that if the element has no coefficient, so it's understood that it is equal to 1. So now I have here a solved solution in this solution or equation. So here in HNO3 we have a positive 3 here because oxygen has 3 number here, so it's understood that oxygen has 3 here. So negative 2 also in oxygen and x times 1 here in hydrogen. So now we have the product of 3 times negative 2 is equal to negative 6, and we have minus negative 6 and 1 plus x in the nitrogen. So we have now the equation 1 plus x minus 6 is equal to 0. So we're going to find a number that if it is subtracted, it will become 0. So now we have 5 here. So 1 plus 5 minus 6 is equal to 0. So here in second, we are now having both 1 here because there is no coefficient in the element, so they were both 1. So 1 plus x is equal to 0. So we will find also another number that if it is subtracted or add in the number 1, it will become 0. So we have now a negative 1. So 1 plus negative 1 is equal to 0. So now proceed in this element. So this element we are now having negative 2 in the oxygen and x times 1 here in the nitrogen because there is no coefficient. So we are now having x plus negative 2 is equal to 0. So we are going to find another number that is equal to 0. So now we have 2 plus negative 2 is equal to 0. So here in H2O or in the water molecule, this is understood that hydrogen has 1 number of atom, and then oxygen has negative 2 number. So now we are going to proceed to the third step, in the second step, which says identify the half reaction or redox reaction by using an arrow. So now, na-simplify na natin yung equation. So, gagamit tayo ng arrow para ma-identify natin yung half reaction or yung redox reaction ng equation. So, ganito ang kinalabasan nung na-solve ko yung equation. So, meron na tayong dito sa nitrogen to oxygen, gamit tayo ng arrow na papunta dito din sa nitrogen and oxygen. So, dito, ang nitrogen has 5 number and dito naman, meron tayong 2 number. So, gagawin na natin is, i-subtract lang natin yung 5 sa 2. So, 5 minus 2 is equal to 3 electrons. So, mali yung nalagay ko dyan guys. So, dapat lost ito. Kasi, nagbawas sila guys. They lost 3 electrons. So, dito naman sa sulfur. Sa sulfur naman, we have negative 1 and here 0. So, here go, negative 1 minus 0 is equal to negative 1. So, mali dito guys na yung nalagay ko. Dapat gain dito. Dapat magkasalungat sila. If dito yung loss, dapat gain dito. So, we are now going to add 3H plus ion to make it 7. To make it balanced. So, we're now having 3 plus 2 plus 2 is equal to 7. So, and then we were going to proceed to the step 7, which is the final check. The final check to the number of atoms and then check the number of total charges. So, first we are going to check the number of atoms, which has nitrogen has 1, sulfur has 3, oxygen has 3, oxygen has also 3 here, and hydrogen has also 7 here, because 1 plus 3 times 2 is equal to 7. Is equal to 6 plus 1, 7. So, here in hydrogen we have 2, 4, and plus 3, 7. So this is balance. So here in the total charges we have 0 plus 0, 0 plus 0 plus 0. So 0 plus 0 is equal to 0, and then 0 plus 0 plus 0 is equal to 0. So the total charges is 0. So in this scene, I'm going to balance redox reaction in basic solution. So I have bromine plus manganese oxygen ion 4 plus bromine raised to 2 plus manganese 2 plus ion. So step 1, we are going to determine the oxidation number. So bromine is understood that is negative 1 plus manganese oxygen 4. So negative 4 times or x times 1. So negative 4 is negative 4. So x plus negative 4 is equal to negative 1. So we have to find a number that is equal to negative 1. So we have 3 plus negative 4 is equal to negative 1. So here in bromine, we have 2 times negative 1. So negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. So here in manganese, it is understood that this is it has 2. So we proceed to step 2. Step 2, identify the half reaction or redox reaction by using an arrow. So we have to use an arrow. So bromine and bromine. Bromine here has negative 1 and bromine here has negative 2. So we have negative 1 minus negative 2 is equal to negative 3. So the bromine gained 3 electrons. So in manganese, we have here 3 and we have here 2. So 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. So there, they lost this 1 electron. So after that, we're going to find the LCM. So the LCM here is 6. So we are going to find a number that is equal to 6 when we multiply it to here. So we are going to multiply 3 by 2. So we're going to 6, and then we're going to multiply 1 by 6. So we're going to 6. So in step 4, we are going to scale to match the electron lost and gained for the both reaction. So ganito magiging kalabasan yan, guys. So naging ganito na yung ating solution. Nagkaroon dito ng 2 because of the number na multiply natin doon para makuha natin yung least common multiple na solution. So dito din sa manganese, naging 6 to kasi kinuha din natin doon sa multiply natin para makuha yung least common multiple. So in step 7, we are going to add 1 OH ion to both sides of the equation. So ito na-process ko na ito, guys, kung paano sila nagkaroon ng mga H dyan, and na-add ko na din dyan, and it is in this line. So we are going to proceed to the step 6. So add H2O to balance. We are going to balance the equation. So now we have bromine is equal to 2, manganese is equal to 6, oxygen is equal to 20, and hydrogen is equal to 8. And then in step 7, so for each hydrogen ion, we will going to add 1 OH ion to both sides of the equation. So ganyan na yung kakalabasan ng ating equation. So pagmasdan nyo, guys, medyo merong naiba sa kanila. Dito pinaghalo ko na yung ito, kaya naging H8H2O na siya. Kaya ang naging, pag na-balance na natin, magiging bromine is equal to 2, manganese is equal to 1, 28, oxygen is equal to 28, and hydrogen is equal to 16. So ito yung number of atoms. Ito yung number of atoms. At ito na naman yung total charges. So negative 1 plus 7 plus 0 is equal to negative 2 plus 2 plus 0 plus negative 8. So negative 1 plus negative 7 plus 0 is equal to negative 8. And then negative 2 plus 2 plus 0 plus negative 8 is equal to negative 8. So okay siya.